Very good evening, guys. Welcome to NextGen IT Courses. So today we have session regarding the Palo Alto Firewall, and this is the firewall bundle, Fortinet Firewall and the Palo Alto Firewall, the market leaders. And we have our trainer also, Mr. Ajad, having good experience, 14, 15 years of experience, and working as a TAC engineer in the Ireland, and worked with the many companies in Dubai and Dubai and like Ireland also. So, hi sir, very good evening. How are you?
Hi, Sachin. I'm doing good. How are
Yeah,
you
so
doing?
yeah, all good, sir. Thank you. And sir, let's start the session. You can introduce yourself, and you can just tell the prerequisite job opportunities, whatever the agenda we have today for the class, so that we can start with the fundamental of Palo Alto Firewall today.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
over to you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you. So let me share my screen. Okay. So welcome everyone. As Sachin mentioned, this session would be focusing on Palo Alto firewalls. One of the firewalls on the firewall bundle for Palo Alto and Fortinet, which are market leaders in the industry for firewall manufacturers. So, with respect to the prerequisites for this course, I would have people who would be interested or who would be working as a network engineer already with experience with respect to routing, switching. So this is something that is mandatory for you guys to have. On top of that, if they have any insight about um, firewall in general, on what is a firewall. If not, we will talk about it to start with. But it's a good to have information if you guys already have familiarity with the firewall, any firewall for that matter, right? Okay, so with respect to the prerequisites, this is something that I expect you to know. If not in an advanced level, in a mid-level understanding of these technologies would be handy, right? Or I would say routing and switching is probably mandatory because we will be referring to a lot of terminologies with respect to routing and switching while I talk about the firewall, right? Okay, so a little bit about me. I have about 12 years of experience in the industry, and I've been with NextGen IT Solutions for quite some time, and I I train on technologies like Cisco, Palo Alto, or certifications like CompTIA with respect to load balancers. I train Zscaler with respect to SD-WAN. I train on products like Palo Alto, Fortinet, and Versa SD-WAN Cisco, right? So with respect to next-gen firewalls, I have experience training Palo Alto, Fortinet, Checkpoint, and Cisco. So one of the firewall that I train the most, I love training the most would be Palo Alto because I have worked real time on this product more than anything else, any other firewall. So yeah, so that's where we are, and we will probably start looking at what would be a job opportunity that we might be that might entertain you with respect to this learning. If you are going for this specific course of learning Palo Alto, what exactly would you expect as a role? And in terms of salary, I won't be talking about it. It definitely would be an attractive salary for this role, but depending upon where you are, which country you are part of, your pay scale might differ. So I probably won't comment on that one, but it definitely is something pretty hot in the market that you're going to learn, right? All right. So the roles that you might entertain you with respect to learning this product. So in Palo Alto, there are a lot of products that you can think of or can come across, of which NextGen Firewall is one of them, which is something that we're going to learn, right? All right. So talking about the roles or the designations that you might be getting or will be put at when you're learning this product, or after you've learned this product, would be network security engineer, firewall engineer, principal network security engineer, and so on. So different companies have different designations. Basically, anything that talks about security, they will be looking for people who knows a product like Palo Alto or any next-gen firewall, right? Okay, so with that being said, Sachin, can I continue, or are we expecting anyone else for this batch to join?
Yes, yes, you can continue, sir, with your agenda, everything.
Okay, all right. So with respect to the agenda for today, the first agenda obviously was to talk about what you can expect of the course or what are the prerequisites, which I already did, right? Secondly, we will talk about the product itself. Maybe before that, we will talk about what is a firewall, or we can compare maybe a firewall versus a router. How does a firewall differ from a router, or you could say a next-gen firewall? How does it differ from a router or a legacy firewall, right? So next up, we will talk about Palo Alto as a product and its features. And if time permits, we will be talking about a short lab, or I would say an overview about the GUI dashboard of the firewall, right? So this probably would be our main agenda. So while I talk about the firewall itself, I will be also giving you an overview, if not in detail, in an high level overview. We will be talking about the packet flow, right? So I'm again mentioning that I won't be going over in detail of this one because the packet flow itself needs about an hour or more than that for us to completely go over this. But I will explain you in a way that you understand the overall picture of the packet flow, where after we get into the session, we will definitely be talking about it in detail. Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, the prerequisites are done. So let's try to talk about or compare your next-gen firewall with the legacy firewall and the router, right? So anywhere, any questions or any hiccups, please stop me there and please ask your questions and I will be able to answer it then and there rather than parking it for later, right? Okay, so let's try to compare a firewall, or rather a next-gen firewall, with a router and
One more thing, sir. If anyone, would like to introduce himself, herself, regarding their profile and regarding the guidance also, so they can ask their question, like what kind of their profile have as a network engineer, how they can, jump into the network security profiles, and what kind of salary packages according to their current experience and CTC they can achieve after learning these things. They can ask definitely. So we can guide on these point also. So if anyone,
yeah.
so
So
please you can ask.
should we take that offline? Because I don't know if people would be entertained to give their salaries out. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
just an
open.
idea. Just an idea.
Yeah, I am open to that. I don't have any problem with that. I can definitely guide them with that. If there is any questions regarding that, please do ask me. And as Sachin said, if anyone would like to introduce yourself, I'm sorry I missed it. So before we get started, if anyone would like to talk about their profile and what are the expectations, I can probably say if you're just there with the right course or not. Obviously, talking about the firewall is something that you need to know nowadays if you're a network engineer. But yeah, if anyone would like to introduce yourself, please do. I can probably spare about 5 minutes here before I get started. Anyone would like to volunteer and talk about their profile and their expectations of this course? I think we have about 34, excluding myself and Sachin.
Hello everyone, myself Vikas. I'm currently working as an cybersecurity engineer, and currently in my project, I need to deploy and configure the firewall and putting the cyber CSP services. That's why I am here to understand about the Palo Alto firewall configuration.
Okay, I sort of got you 70% because I think you
Am
were
I
breaking
audible?
at the end of your conversation. But yeah, I got to know that you are working as a cybersecurity analyst and you are here for learning about this firewall to configure and deploy it in your environment. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Cool.
hello. This is Ajay, and
Yes.
I'm working as a networks security. And actually, I'm working on a firewall of ASA, Cisco ASA, and I want to know about. Actually, I'm learning about other firewall also as Fortinet and also Palo Alto, and also I want to know other firewalls also. Be- yeah, this is my requirement.
Okay. All right. So you are already working as a security engineer, but on a product called ASA. Um, okay. All right. Thank
Hi,
you. So anyone
hi.
else?
This is Brijesh. As a manager, I'm working for IT company. So I'm interested on that this for Volta training, and I want to know that what is the benefits and as well as features of the latest firewall, the Palo Alto, because each and everywhere that this device and hardware is using for the security purpose. Is this audible?
Yes, Brijesh. Thanks a lot. So, as you guys know, we cannot have everyone get introduced. If anyone would like to talk about them, maybe I'll take two more names before I get started.
Hello, hi. This is Shyam with you. I'm also working as a cybersecurity engineer. So I would like to know the course content. What are the topics we covered in this training for Palo Alto? Can you please explain?
Yeah, I will talk about the content when I finish the session, when I finish my agenda, for sure. We will also be sharing the content with you guys once after the session is done. I hope Sachin would do that, or someone from the backend team would do that. Yeah, definitely. Your if not the overall content from A to Z, I can probably share share the core contents that we'll be talking about this product. Yeah, in this course.
Yes, even I would like to add one more thing.
Mhm.
Don't worry, guys. We have one Cisco TAC engineer also in this session who wants to learn, Palo Alto Firewall and the Fortinet Firewall. So don't worry, he's already working in the good MNCs. I will not take his name on this session, but don't worry, the session will be up to mark from the basic to the advanced level. So you are getting, job-oriented things, and you can apply for the network security jobs all after this session. Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Ravi. Currently, I'm working in the government project. I'm working in different kind of switches. Now I want to upgrade myself for firewall so I can switch into security role.
Yeah, thanks, Ravi. Thanks a lot for your um, introduction. So yeah, so people from different experiences, from different when even people from no core networking domain want to get into security or already in security. So we have a mix of people who belong to a different level of experience as well. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. More than me delivering the content, what would be more interesting is to discuss your day-to-day activities that you do with the course that you're learning. So basically, if you guys are already working on a firewall or if you're trying to deploy a firewall, the ideas that you might get out of this course while you interact in the session would definitely be helping you out in your day-to-day activity as well. So not just learning the exact the picture content that I prepared and I'm gonna deliver. You can also bring in some real world examples which you are facing in your real experience, your organizations, which definitely can be answered here, which will give you a lot of experience in terms of how you can handle your day-to-day activities, right? So that's something that not many other institutes might do. No, we definitely will spend some time on that for you to get real hands-on to what you guys are going to do in real time, right? Okay. So I see a few questions in the group, in the chat. Let me try to answer that, and before after that we can start with our session. I hope everyone can see my screen. So I see Franklin asked me a question. What should be the salary expectation for a person with 6 years of experience working with a Zscaler, proxy VPN, CASB, microsegmentation firewalls, NAC, and WAF? So if you are having all these skills, you probably are going to be the most sought engineer in the market. So if you are, it is also about getting a right company with the right interview, right? So if you get a right opportunity, the salary scale probably would vary somewhere between 20 to 25 lakhs, if in my experience. So even though you're only 6 years, the skill set that you're showcasing here is something that not even a 10-year-old guy might have collectively. Because you having Zscaler proxy experience with respect to firewalls and WAF. Guys, if you are not talking, please mute yourself so that my um, voice would be clear. Now, if at all this session is recorded, that will also be
Yeah,
helpful.
fine, sir. Continue,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Yeah, that's about your question, Franklin. And
You stand,
yeah,
stand, stand.
with respect to your skill set, I would say if you are good enough and confident enough in learning your firewall, next-gen firewall knowledge, if you've got your next-gen firewall knowledge already on maybe two products, there are about 4 to 5 challengers or leaders in the market for next-gen firewalls. One of the leaders or the best one I would say is Palo Alto, not just because I'm delivering this course now, but really in terms of support and in terms of user experience, Palo Alto is leading the market really nowadays in today's agenda. So you have Palo Alto, you have Fortinet, you have Checkpoint, you have Cisco, obviously. So out of this four, if you have about two firewalls that you are comfortable with, then I would say if you still want to be in networking and security, I would say you move towards um, learning SD-WAN and learning SASE technology. So, talking about SASE, Palo Alto again is the only product which has SD-WAN and security stack in the same product, right? If you take uh, Zscaler, you do not have an SD-WAN product there. If you take Fortinet, you do not have security stack there. You only have SD-WAN product on Fortinet. So likewise, Palo Alto is the only product which has a complete SASE stack or SASE product within its brand. Not any other product or any other vendor doesn't have complete stack of SASE within them, right? So in that means I would strongly recommend you guys to start learning Prisma Access and Prisma SD-WAN. Now if you're continuing
Well,
with
even there.
security and especially
Hello.
Palo Alto product.
Thanks, permission. I have one quick question.
हाँ जिग्नेश बोलिए बोलिए.
Guys, please mute yourself if you're not
हाँ तो करा नहीं
up
आपने?
with any
आपको
questions.
लिंक नहीं आया आपको? एक सेकंड रुको बस,
Can you hear me?
2 मिनट रुको, ठीक है? ओके, भेज रहा हूँ।
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you for the suggestion. Well, I have one quick question. So, if you compare this profile with some cloud security profile, I'm also interested into cloud security. So, when you compare this both, which one should I pursue? SaaS engineering with SaaS microsegmentation all, or from both the cloud security?
I'm really sorry. Can you please type your question in the chat? I sort of got your question
हम्म
halfway, but your voice is breaking a bit. So I would
Yes,
like.
I will type it. I'm traveling right now. Thank you. I'll type it.
No worries. You can type your question. I'll definitely be answering you guys. So yeah, this session is all about, this Q&A. For 50-60% of the session is planned for the Q&A, and the rest is what the agenda that I have planned here. So it's okay to spend some time on this one. So please do type your questions. I'll be happy to answer.
Hello, yeah, Azad.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, actually, you talked about an firewall which is integrated with SD-WAN, right?
Yeah. So now, earlier, maybe about 3 years or 4 years back, or even before that, when SD-WAN was hot in the market, it was introduced as a software-based, product. But with Palo Alto, we are now moving towards a hardware-based SD-WAN where we have a device called ION devices, Internet on devices. So it's a hardware, or it could be a virtual, ION device that we can deploy and then manage, which is specifically for SD-WAN purpose.
Your voice got broke.
Okay. Is it for
Yeah,
everyone?
I don't know. Okay. Just a slight question, but
Mhm.
because before the SD-WAN, we already had the VPN, right, with the firewall integrated.
Yes, exactly. We still do. We still have
Yeah,
VPNs.
we still do have it.
Mhm.
Yes. Then
So,
what's the difference in that then?
okay, so your fire SD-WAN is nothing but, it's an intelligent device. And with respect to VPN, just give me a second. I'm sorry, I just got to pause for sneezing. So with respect to VPN, you're talking about IPsec, if I'm not wrong. So with respect to VPN, all the traffic steering should be controlled by your administrator, your engineer. So if I can use my blackboard. So we are talking about IPsec, right? And we are also talking about SD-WAN. So with respect to IPsec, let's say you have Office 1, Office 2, data center. So in the same example here as well, Office 1, Office 2, and data center. So you have, your perimeter devices deployed on each of the offices, which does VPN, right? So let's say this is your router on different locations. So with respect to VPN, let's say you have two ISPs everywhere for redundancy. So with respect to your user, he will be accessing multiple resources. So it could be your internet-based resources. It could be a cloud-based resources in AWS or Azure, or it could be an intranet resource located behind your data center firewall, which could be a router, sorry, a server, right? Or your SaaS applications, software as a service applications in internet.
Yes,
So with
yes.
respect to IPsec, it's only for intranet, right? So it's only for accessing your remote offices or your data centers.
Yeah.
Your SD-WAN, on the other hand, is basically going to control, even if you take your intranet traffic, your traffic steering or controlling the traffic is completely managed by your network engineer, right? You have two ISPs, three ISPs, doesn't matter. Which ISP
Yeah.
should the traffic take precedence over is decided by your engineer. But
Yes.
SD-WAN, especially your Prisma SD-WAN from Palo Alto, The advantage here is, let's say you have two ISPs everywhere on your data center and your offices, and same way as this example, your user might reach internet, he might reach your SaaS applications, he might reach your cloud, he might reach your remote offices as well. Anything for that matter, depending upon the application he's trying to reach. Let's say he wants to reach Facebook or Microsoft services, MS Office, whatever it might be. Any application, depending upon which ISP is quicker in reaching that application, your SD-WAN will automatically steer the traffic through that. So your SD-WAN is going to be monitoring each and every application and through which ISP at what point of time, which ISP is faster for that application. It will steer the traffic automatically. So it basically needs only some initial configuration, post which your network engineer is not required, or he you don't have to actually do some any configuration here for him to steer the traffic. SD-WAN takes care of it automatically. So it's not only for your IPsec is only for your intranet traffic from your office 1 to office 2 or data center. It's not for your internet based traffic, but here any application in internet, any application as a software as a service, or any application located in cloud, AWS or Azure, or any server that you want to reach in data center. If you are configuring them inside your SD-WAN for monitoring, you
Yes.
basically will make sure that application is taken care by your SD-WAN in such a way that which ISP is fast enough for reaching that application, that ISP will be used by your firewall or your SD-WAN device to route the traffic outside. So your traffic steering is,
Yeah.
in advanced format so that it automatically steers the traffic for you, but not with your IPsec. So you cannot basically directly compare your IPsec with SD-WAN first of all.
Yeah.
Right.
Currently, I do have a Cisco Meraki SG-WAN.
Mhm.
Yeah. But while switching to the another like the ISP, right? It
Mhm.
it does take around 4 minutes to get down in the one unit itself.
This is not about SD-WAN, but any traffic steering. Let's say you are
Yeah.
just having a router in place of SD-WAN device.
Yeah.
If your failover is happening and it's taking 4 minutes, something is wrong with your configuration or your design. Right,
So
it
it
shouldn't
is with
take.
the when SD-WAN side, right? Configure SD-WAN configuration side.
Yeah, any configuration for that matter. So I would say it's something wrong with the design or the configuration, because any technology in today's fast world,
Yeah.
business will not be able to withstand a 4 minute outage if you are
Yeah.
failing over the traffic. So 4 minute is too long. And even 4 seconds are critical now. Yeah. So four
So
minutes
either
is
there will
something.
be an issue with the architecture or there will be the issue with the configuration.
Yeah, probably something. I will not be able to comment on that unless I see what's in there. But
Yeah.
no, there is something that has to be seriously taken care there, because
Uh,
4 minutes is a huge time.
Let me be like clear. Like I do have a 4 units, and our ISP comes breaks at SG-WAN,
Mhm.
and then it goes to our firewall, and uh, a firewall is the one which decides. Earlier we did had an IPsec, which as you discussed earlier, right? IPsec like our firewall was itself the using as a we used as a VPN. No, just currently around 3 months back we switched to SD-WAN. Now the current issue is like the ISP terminates at SD-WAN and then it goes to firewall, and firewall is our DHCP provider.
Okay, so your firewall's internet facing interface is a DHCP client.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they might have deployed that because you have something called as zero touch provisioning in a Palo Alto or in any firewall. You might have this technology where if you just connect your outside interface, your internet facing interface,
Okay.
and if it gets IP automatically, you don't really need to do anything. The configuration will be pushed automatically to the firewall. So it's basically you don't really need a smart hands and eyes in the site for you to deploy a firewall. The only thing you need is to connect your firewall to outside interface, let it get an IP automatically, and the configs through that IP will be pushed to the firewall. So it probably might be because of that. I'm just guessing, but uh,
Okay.
I'm talking about ZTP, zero touch provisioning.
Yeah. So there won't be an issue with the architecture, right? It might be the issue with the configuration, right?
Yeah, configuration, because as you see, your SD-WAN device can be deployed as your edge device or behind your firewall. So both ways, it is fine deploying it, but how do you configure them also matters. So what is in there as a configuration is also something we should be reviewing. To see why it takes about 4 minutes to fail over a traffic.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
No worries. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
Any
hello, hello Ajat. This
yes.
said Yash.
Hi. Hi.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question in that. Like in SD-WAN, that SD-WAN device that we are talking about, in that
Mhm.
also it will detect based like it do the failover based on the performance SLA via latency or jitter.
Yeah, it
How it
will.
will
It will. It will.
it will right.
So,
So
as I said,
I have one question.
uh
Yeah, I have one question for that. Actually, I have experience in FortiGate firewall. So in
okay.
FortiGate firewall also we have SD-WAN feature where we can use virtual WAN link.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference there that if in a ticket firewall we have SD-WAN feature where the similar way if we purchase a SD-WAN device they're doing load balancing of ISP or there also in firewall also we can do the IPsec load balancing
So you're asking if you
anyone
have
is down then
SD-WAN
based on
config.
the backup tunnel. So what is the difference here?
No, no, I'm
Yeah,
not getting you. Can you put your question in a different way if you can? Yes.
sure. Like my voice coming properly, like there is no
Yeah, there
breaking here.
was a lag in the middle, but yeah, if you can
Okay,
please reiterate your
okay.
question.
I can again repeat. Yeah, like my question is that for
I'm
firewall,
sorry,
there is a
yes.
virtual welding configuration is there,
I
SD-WAN,
think he
right?
has message that their question. We checked it.
Yeah, I think if you
I,
can
I,
send a message,
I'm
I
done.
think your voice is
I'm
breaking and
done
then
already.
the.
I'm done already. I'm done already.
Okay, give me a second. Let
The message.
me.
Sure.
See, it's just another product, right? So, uh, you are talking about why do we need a hardware device for SD-WAN if we have a software-based SD-WAN available? See, having a dedicated device means you don't see that. What do you mean by SASE as a whole? When I talk about SASE product, I'm actually pushing all my security stack to the cloud. I'm talking about cloud security if I'm talking about SASE, right? So if, let's say, for example, I have my SD-WAN router available in my Office 1 and Office 2, your traffic from your user will hit your switch and it probably might hit your SD-WAN device. In terms of security, the traffic would be moving to your security stack. So your security stack might be a Prisma Access. All your next-gen firewall security, like antivirus, anti-spyware, um, file blocking, URL filtering, everything would be done. All your security features, next-gen security will be done on your cloud. This is your cloud security, right? So even though you have a FortiGate firewall, so you either should have a firewall at your site, somewhere behind your SD-WAN
Here,
device, or your
Prisma Access is a ZTNA, right?
Yeah, so cloud, if I talk about cloud security, I'm talking about either Prisma
Yeah.
Access or I'm talking about a Zscaler product, ZTNA.
It's a JTNA,
Yeah,
right?
so this is
Okay.
another product. This is a Palo Alto product. This one is
Okay.
your Zscaler product. That's what I said.
Zscaler, correct.
Zscaler doesn't have an SD-WAN product. SD-WAN is absent in Zscaler, but it has your security stack product. But Palo Alto
Okay.
has both SD-WAN and security stack. So a lot of compatibility issues and any issue that you might face with cross product platform or cross platform will be avoided if you're using a single product or similar product for your
Single
as
brand.
well as your cloud security SASE.
Hmm.
So having your firewall at site and you're not having a security stack in cloud, you can very well go for a software based firewall. So it's up to you to choose or design what you want to do. Let's say you don't have a firewall at site, so you don't really need to maintain a firewall at site if you're having a cloud security platform deployed in your network and SD-WAN router alone deployed in the network. So you don't really need to have a firewall at the location. Let's say you have
If
a
our whole
firewall like
traffic is
FortiGate.
managed by a cloud firewall, Prisma Access, if
Exactly.
our whole
All the security goes to a cloud.
actually my point is like that in FortiGate like in FortiGate product, we are getting FortiGate SD-WAN also and FortiGate firewall also. Okay.
Yeah, so you get both in one. So that's what I'm saying. If you are going for FortiGate, you don't really need to have a cloud security product because you're getting your security on one device and SD-WAN on another device.
In
Probably you need
firewall
to,
itself is the feature.
yeah, in firewall itself. See, the reason why you go for a cloud security is for security.
Correct.
So if you are having a firewall at each location and you don't really need to buy another, see, if you already deployed your firewall on all 30 of your locations, let's say you have 30 offices, you already have a FortiGate firewall. And since your SD-WAN product is a software-based product, you get the subscription alone, like you get a subscription for any feature, get a subscription in on all the firewalls, and you're done. You are having your SD-WAN feature, you are having a security stack on the same device. Let's say a new
Okay.
company coming in who have another 30 office the same way, they will definitely prefer less overhead on their site and more on your cloud security because they don't really need to think about the outage. They don't really need to think about whether the firewall will go down or not. Your SD-WAN device is the only device that they need to manage. And for the fact that the SD-WAN device and the license is way a lot cheaper than procuring a firewall and then having licenses for probably 30 different devices. They can probably have two SD-WAN devices deployed in high availability on each site. Depending upon the criticality of the site, they might even have one single standalone SD-WAN device. They don't really need to have a firewall to be maintained at each of the location rather than sending all the security checks done by the cloud, your cloud product. Now it's up to you to define
How
what
we
you need.
can deploy.
Yeah.
Yeah, how we can deploy it. It is
Yeah, if you
totally
have a
on that.
firewall at site on all the locations, you don't need a cloud security.
Right.
If you have cloud security deployed, there is no point of having both because both of them are going to do the same thing. It's your if you are the architect, it's their decision, or if you are the business, you're taking business decisions, then it's your decision to go for which is cheaper and what suits best for your need, for your business.
No, actually, like one more thing I will notice there, like most of the clients, like our clients are, like they have a firewall, but still they need a JTNA. And why they need JTNA? To replace the normal SSL VPN. They need that the remote user who is connecting remotely, their machine should be firstly authenticate properly, whether on their machine if there like there no uh, malware there. If there is no malware, then after they are able to access their services. So that's why they are proceeding for the JTNA. Either it's Sophos, either it's FortiGate, or either it's Prisma Access. So in that case,
Sorry to interrupt you, Yash.
yeah,
We will, go on this same track, but we want to focus on the Palo Alto first. I hope
okay,
it is fine with other also.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is the from basic to advanced, like how the Palo Alto device is having different devices, Cortex,
Hmm.
Prisma and everything. From the basic, how device is being introduced in the industry and how network security engineer is giving the IP address internet to the device, how application or like you can say the other things are being applied to the device.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
fine.
hope
It's
you're
fine.
okay with that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Please,
It's fine.
please, yeah, I
Uh,
will appreciate that. So that will be okay for others also.
Fine.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so please continue, Aja, sir, according to the from basic to advanced.
All right. Now,
We will answer this question also. Don't worry, guys. But we want to focus from the basic to advanced from the Palo Alto device.
okay. Thanks, Sachin. So yeah, so with respect to the Palo Alto, so as most of you guys are already having good amount of experience, I hope you guys are pretty familiar about what is a firewall and what is a router. I don't really need to talk about it if I'm not wrong. Everyone might have an idea already about it. So let me just start talking about the next gen firewall in general and what does it mean, right? Just give me 1 second, guys. So when you talk about next gen firewall, especially Palo Alto, I would like to talk about a few features before which I'll probably show you the Palo Alto firewall and its models. So let me bring that up for you guys. Right, so this is your Palo Alto product overview. So with respect to the Palo Alto firewall, you are having firewalls starting from Palo Alto 400 series, 220, and mid-scale firewalls range from 1400 PA1400. So the most famous firewall is PA1400 because this probably can act as a firewall for small scale to medium scale offices. So most of your businesses are either a small to medium scale or in a projection of becoming a medium scale office. So PA1400 is something that people would mostly go for, having its provided its features. So if you could just go ahead and take a look at this specific product, you would be able to see your hardware and CPU requirement here. And with respect to what security postures that this firewall comprise of, right? So what exactly this firewall comprise of, and I can also probably take you to the firewall datasheet where it will talk about yeah. So this is what I was talking about, 1400. So this will give you an idea about the firewall and what features it has. So you can probably, when you start working with the firewall, you'll probably be able to go through what features it possesses, and especially with respect to the number of connections it could handle and number of throughput that this firewall is capable of. Everything would be available over here. So if you see the throughput approximate for 1410 is 8.5 gig, and for 1420 it's 9.5 gig max, right? And for with respect to threat prevention throughput, approximately it can go up to 4 to 4.5 gigabits, and for 1420 it is 6.2 gigabits. So while you do the architecture of deploying a firewall, these are the parameters that you probably need to take care of, so that for you to understand how many users are in there and how much of traffic is expected out of the from the users through the firewall to the internet and through the intranet. Depending on that, you should choose the firewall and the model wisely. So if you see, the new sessions per second is close to 1 lakh here. This is 1,40,000 sessions per second, new sessions per second. Yeah. And you have something called as virtual systems that I will be talking about, and it's one virtual system by default you will get, and based on the licenses that you procure, you can go up to maximum of 6 virtual systems. As you see, base versus maximum. So the base license will give you one virtual system. Virtual system is nothing but having dividing your firewall logically into multiple firewalls, right? So IPsec VPN throughput. So similarly, each of your firewall model has its specific features and capacity based on which you should choose the right firewall for your requirement, right? And you see networking features. So what exactly it supports. So most of the networking features for all the firewalls would be the same, right? Every firewall would support layer 2, layer 3, virtual wire and transparent mode. Similarly, everything will support all of the protocols that you see here. And with respect to SD-WAN, this is a software-based SD-WAN feature that you have. So you can probably go through each and everything that you could see. So with respect to VLANs, high availability, network address translation, I don't see any restrictions with respect to any model. It is going to be supporting everything, right? So it's just a data sheet that you have where you see what is supported and what is not. So the main difference would be on your capacity versus what exact capacity each firewall is capable of. And if you come down, your hardware interfaces. So how many SFP modules it supports, what type of SFP modules, what speed of SFP that you can probably have for these specific models. So for 1400, especially for Palo Alto, your SFP should be Palo Alto specific. So you should have SFPs which should be Palo Alto specific. You cannot right away go and connect your Cisco SFP onto your Palo Alto firewall. So your SFP should be Palo Alto vendor specific SFP, right? So similar to your data ports, your management port also has some capacity running onto it. PoE, storage. So everything has to be taken care before you deploy your firewall, right? So this is your data sheet. So you could access your data sheet with respect to your requirement. You could access maybe multiple data sheets of different firewalls, choose which one is better for you, and then procure that firewall, because it involves a lot of cost in terms of the license you purchase and in terms of your firewall hardware as well. Yeah. Just give me 1 second for me to connect my charger, guys. Just bear with me for a second.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Be on the line. He's continuing in just 2 minutes.
Yeah. I have like, is this question, is this session just regarding the Palo Alto?
Yeah, this is the first session for the Palo Alto Firewall, but this is the combination of Palo Alto Firewall and the Fortinet Firewall. So
Okay.
Trent is like experienced, and
Okay.
yeah, you can
The
ask.
Palo Alto is an like manufacturer, right?
Yes, yes, Palo
Like
Alto,
this, like Cisco.
PCNSA, PCNSE, both levels we are covering, including the Panorama Global Protect as well.
Okay.
Sachin, um,
Yeah,
Do we have a curriculum, the subjects, what all will be covered on each day?
yes, definitely we have that. You can connect with the counselor or admission team, or you can connect on the official number. So we can, share you the official syllabus, and day
Okay.
by day, whatever
No,
the.
yeah, I have got that curriculum, but since first class, right? It's something which is introduction, and from tomorrow onwards, will it go by
We'll
as well as
share.
the curriculum?
Yeah, I think you are already enrolled, right?
Yes. Today is my
Yes.
first class for Palo Alto.
Yeah, no problem. So don't
Uh,
worry. Team member Arun will share you the proper details regarding the same. Okay.
so I wanted to learn from the basics, from the
Yeah, this is
scratch from Palo
basic class.
Alto.
This is the from basic one. Okay, like how the Palo Alto device looks like, and
Hmm.
what kind of series being used in the industry. So trainer is telling you from the basic. Don't worry. Yes, Ajaz sir, over to you now. You can continue. Mic is mute, sir. Can you please check from your side?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so as I was initially explaining you the basics, I was taking some questions, and post that I was probably showing you the hardware. How do you choose a hardware? Even though you are not quite into the firewall product yet, when you are choosing the hardware, where do you go for, and what exactly you have to refer with respect to choosing the hardware. So that's exactly what we are at right now. So with respect to the content itself, yes, as you said, we'll be going over the core content from tomorrow or from the day one. So today is sort of a demo, as I was initially mentioning. So this is more or less going to be an overview. The core concepts would definitely be getting started. We'll be getting started with it from the next session. Yeah. So yeah, to get started with, as I was showing you the data sheet and how you should refer a data sheet, what exactly you should see within it for you to choose a firewall. So we'll talk about the NextGen firewall itself and some features of it. After which we will maybe go into the lab and see how you can probably deploy or get management access of the firewall, and we'll go through the dashboard of the device, right? So let me just list down the features of the NextGen firewall. Why do you call NextGen firewall the way you call it, right? So a firewall is nothing but a router plus security, right? It is a layer 3 device, right? It is a layer 3 device. It could do routing, it could do static routing, dynamic routing, it could route traffic when it receives it could follow the traffic based on the routing table that it has, right? So you could basically do whatever you could do on a router. Along with that, you have some security features which makes it a next-gen firewall, right? So the main feature of next-gen firewall is stateful inspection. So those who have worked on ASA, you might already know what is the stateful inspection. It's nothing but, let's say you have a PC connected to your firewall at the edge. I'm ignoring your switch and all the layer 3, layer 2 devices here. And you have your server somewhere in internet. So let's say this PC wants to reach this server. When the traffic is sent to the server, the forward traffic, the firewall in the middle should allow the traffic. So it should allow the traffic saying this PC's IP address or this network can reach this server on a specific port number, right? So your server might be running HTTPS, or it might be running FTP, or whatever the service that you want to access the server for. Along with that application or protocol, you got to have a rule that allows the traffic in the forward direction, right? This is a request packet. So the PC is requesting something to the server, and server should respond back. So when the server responds back, the response traffic is not required to be allowed by the firewall if the firewall is a stateful device. The reason is that whenever traffic is initiated from a client to the server and it passes through the firewall, that specific traffic is noted down by the firewall using a session ID. Session ID of 1, the source IP, the destination IP, the protocol, and port number. So all of this information along with that additional information will be captured when the traffic from source to destination is passing through the firewall. If the traffic is allowed, right? So your forward traffic should always be allowed on the firewall, and your firewall will keep track of the session with all this information. And when the return traffic from the server comes back to the PC, the firewall will reference this session that it has noted down, and it will allow the traffic by default without any rule for the return traffic. So it's only required for you to allow the forward traffic. No need to allow the return traffic for the same connection, because your firewall maintains a session table. With the help of or referencing that session, the firewall will automatically permit your reverse traffic or return traffic, right? So this process is called as a stateful inspection. So this is something that your NextGen firewall possesses, and you also have to follow while writing your security policies, right? So talking about your features. So talking about the NextGen firewall features, or the reason why you call Palo Alto as a NextGen firewall. So we have few features with respect to the NextGen firewall, which would be antivirus, URL filtering, app ID. You have something called as wildfire. So these are all with much more features in it. So I'm just listing down a few of them. All these are called as NextGen firewall features, which your firewall possesses for it to be called as a NextGen firewall. So you know what is an antivirus, right? So any object that protects your computer or your end host from viruses. Along with antivirus, you have spyware protection, you have malware protection, right? You have vulnerability protection. So all the cybersecurity based terminologies or softwares are in use inside your firewall itself for you to protect your end host, for your firewall to protect your end host, right? Additionally, you have URL filtering. So based on what URL the user is hitting, the URL will be categorized into a specific category. And if that category is allowed or denied, or if it is warned for the users to be user to access it or to ignore it, you could do that using a policy, right? So you could categorize, or the URL is already categorized by the firewall into a specific category. It's up to you to decide whether that category can be allowed or not, right? Similar to the URL filtering, you also have something called as app ID, where a specific application is categorized based on the risk factor, risk 1 or risk 2 or risk 3 or 4, based on the risk value or based on the category or based on the subcategory that application is part of. Let's say, for example, Facebook. So it's probably could be categorized as an entertainment category, right? So it's up to you as an engineer, as a network administrator, to make sure if Facebook can be allowed or not, right? So the categorization is done based on the URL as well as based on the application, right? And you have wildfire and much more features that we will definitely be talking about while we move along the course, right? So along with these features, you also have a lot more in networking that a firewall could do as well, which is also something that we will look at, right? So I've just listed down a few of them for today. But as the day progresses, we will be talking about a lot of them going forward. All right. So with that being said, now we sort of understood why are we actually praising Palo Alto Firewall a lot more than an ASA or any legacy firewall? Because your ASA cannot read layer 7. Your ASA can only inspect up to layer 4, transport layer, right? It can maximum inspect ports and protocols. But if you see here, with just 5 minutes of talking, we understood that your firewall, your Palo Alto firewall or any NextGen firewall can read layer 7. It can go inside the exact application and see what you are accessing and maybe allow or deny that. Or it could categorize your URL that you're entering into your website or your web browser and say this is a category that you're not supposed to access. So hence I am blocking you. Right? This is something that is not possible with your ASA. Right? So there is much more to your firewall, your NextGen firewall, on what it could do or what are its features. We will definitely be talking about them in future. Right. So coming to your lab here, I already have a firewall deployed. And as you know, most of the devices nowadays comes with a dedicated management port, like your Palo Alto Firewall also does. Your firewall comes with a dedicated management interface for managing your device, for logging into your device and working with it. So I have connected my firewall management interface to a computer, right? So by default, your firewall will be having an IP address of 192.168.1.1. So that's your default IP address of your firewall. So if I want to get to the console of the device, I can double click on the device, and if I expand it, so default login for my device, I don't have anything done on the device. I'm just logging in for the first time. So my default username and password would be admin and admin. And my first login, it's going to ask me for change of password, which I will do right now. Without the change of password, it's not going to let me in. So I'm going to change my password. So after the password is changed, it's going to let me into the firewall. And I'm going to directly go ahead and verify what is my default management interface. So as I said, I'm in my firewall. And for me to check my management interface status, the command I use is show interface management.
Give me, sir. Sorry to interrupt. So this is my first class, and I have got the lab credentials, but you showed the lab, right? About the devices that you. So can we, since it's the first class, how do you select a firewall to the lab and PC?
Okay.
So the basic things we are not, since it's my first class, I don't know the procedure. How I got the lab credentials, but how to select a device and map a device, how to select a PC and connect it. So those basic features I'm not aware.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. It's not a big deal. So you just go to the work area. This is your work area. The whole area is for you to play with. So just do a right click, go to node. This is where all your devices would be here. And for now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I only need a firewall and a PC. Why a PC? Is because I want to
Manage it.
firewall.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will select a Windows machine and I'll make sure my PC has a minimum of 4 gig of RAM and 1 to 2 CPU for my PC to work with. So since you're going to access the firewall through the PC, maybe for your management, you can give 2 CPUs. And if you're using a PC for testing your user's access, if it's a user PC sitting behind a switch, 1 CPU should be sufficient, right? So this is your minimum requirement for your PC to run without any lag, right? So that's about it. Just save.
Remaining all default, right?
Yeah, defaults. Yeah.
Okay.
So you just save it and you should get your PC deployed here. And for powering on the device, you right click on it and say start, which is already done from my side. And same way you select your firewall by right clicking and going to node and choosing your Palo Alto VM series firewall. And here as well, your 4 GB of RAM is required and 2 CPUs, right? And make sure your version is 10.114H9 because this is something that is not so buggy with respect to this application. So I prefer using this one. So make sure your version is 10.114.
Okay, everything is by default. Only make sure that version is 14.
Yeah, version is 14. Yeah, so that's it. You just right click and start the device again.
Okay.
So if you like to connect the
CLI.
Yeah, connect the cable. You just go and keep your cursor here. You get a a cable sort of symbol. Just double click and drag it to the other side. You should be able to see options with respect to which interface you can connect.
Okay.
So here I'm choosing, I've already used my management interface. And as you know, your Windows machine will have only one port, which is used. So that's how you connect them, right? So, and then you power it on, and Palo Alto Firewall by default takes about 15 to 20 minutes to bring itself up completely. So you got to wait. Sometimes, if you will get your username prompt, but your default username and password or the username and password you have set might not work because the firewall is not completely up and running. So you got to wait for 20 minutes or so and then try the right password. It should definitely work, right? So if you're trying it in 5 or 10 minutes, just because you got your username prompt, it's not supposed to work because it in the back end it takes about 20 minutes for your firewall to come up. Right. So since I have started this firewall way before our session, it's already ready. So I can log in immediately. So
And so the CLI, how did you access? By clicking the right click on the firewall?
yeah, just do a double click. You should get your
Okay.
CLI.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, that's about it. Your default username and password is admin and admin. And with respect to checking what's your interface status for your management, it's show interface management, right? So you are supposed to have 192.168.1.1 as your IP address, but I do not see that here for some reason, probably because it's a lab version. So it's a good chance for me to show you how do you configure your management interface. So this is as good as your privilege mode in Cisco. You can only run show commands here. For you to configure anything on your firewall, you got to go to configure mode. And once you're in configure mode, your prompt changes to hash and it will say edit, right? So here is where you can configure anything on your device. So if you look at my topology, it's not a really a topology, but I'm just having a laptop and my firewall to access the laptop to access my firewall, right? So let me put my management interface and my PC on same network for me to access them through GUI, right? So CLI can be accessed directly like this, but GUI needs a GUI based computer for which I have my Windows machine, right? So for me to configure my management interface, it's going to be under configuration mode. So I'll say the first command would be set device config. So for me to get help from the context sensitive help, I can say question mark. It gives me some options. So I should be using set device config system because I'm configuring a management interface. So it's a system IP address. So set device config system IP hyphen address, and I have to give
So
IP.
on Cisco, when we do a tab, we get the possible combinations of the command, right?
Mhm.
Over here is something is
Yeah, it is the same. So you can use a tab.
tab. Okay. And when you do a question mark, it show all the possible
Tab
the
also
commands.
works. So you see, I'm typing a tab now. Tab
Okay.
also works. A question mark also works. Both works the same way.
Okay.
So both you can use both in a mix and match. So you can use a question mark or a tab. Both works the same way,
Okay.
right? So now I'm using set device config system IP address. I have to key in the IP address now, which is I'll say 192.168.1.1. This is supposed to be the default IP on your network, on your firewall, right? If you're getting a new firewall out of the box, this is going to be your IP. So you can close your eyes and connect your PC, configure them with the same network, and you can access the firewall. But in this case, it's not having an IP address, so I'm configuring one. So IP address is configured. Next is your net mask, which is here, right?
Okay.
Net mask, and my subnet mask I can use is /24. I do not need a gateway for my management because I'm directly connecting a PC, right? If
Mm.
I'm accessing my firewall's management interface from any other network, then I might need to have a gateway here, but I don't really need it right now for my purpose. So I can hit enter because my IP config is completed. I don't really need much to work with, right? So I can now commit the change. So there is a concept of commit in your Palo Alto. If people from Cisco background working with an ASA or Fortinet background working with a Fortinet NextGen firewall, once you do a configuration, it means it is going to take effect. But with respect to Palo Alto, even though I have configured my management IP route, if I just exit out of my config mode and I say show interface management, I don't see my IP address because I have not committed my change. Right? I have configured the IP, all right, but I will not be able to see anything here unless I commit my changes that I've done. So I have to say commit and hit enter. The changes will commit and it should successfully commit and complete itself for me to see the changes that I have done on my firewall, without which the changes will not be taking effect. Right? Commit is something that is very important. In some cases, it is a very useful feature, a safety feature, I would say, because you might do some false changes, might fat finger something, which if it is taking immediate effect, like in Cisco, you might run into an outage situation. But with respect to Palo Alto, you have to, uh, sensibly commit your change. Only then your will take effect. Without committing, it is just a draft saved in your firewall, right?
Is
So
there a way that the commit before committing, the configuration what we have performed can be validated within the device?
yeah, it can be. It can be.
And
I will show you that. That's again a session in itself. We will talk about that on how the validation can be done. So basically, we can test if the commit will complete or not. So before committing, we can see or validate and check if my commit will be successful or not. Or in other words, we can verify what we have done, what changes we have done. No, in a CLI mode. No, for your information, the configuration backend in the backend of your Palo Alto firewall is going to be saved as a XML format file. So if you are going through your configuration or backup or whatever it is, you're going to see not a plain text configuration, but a XML format config.
okay.
So as you said, the verification or validation is possible. We will see that. But for now, just understand that commit is important and it is absolutely required for you to get your configs onboarded to the firewall.
Sorry for disturb. If we commit, if we need to roll back, then we can roll back also.
Yes, possible. So before committing, you could cancel the configs you have done, even though you have
No, if we
committed.
commit, if we, for example, if we complete the commit activity,
Mhm.
and if we need to roll back, then is it possible after?
So you cannot directly do that. For example, if you have taken a backup before doing any change, you could load that backup config onto your device.
Okay, so
It's
if
just a
we are
one,
doing,
it's
if we
just
are
a
doing the
one-click
backup,
process.
okay,
Loading the config is not that complex compared to Cisco, because in Cisco, if you say loading back the configuration, you got to copy and paste each and every line. Here it's not like that. You got to take a backup file of your configuration and you got to just reference that file and load the config onto the firewall and commit it back again.
like I had seen that like the previous configuration before committing, that is also stored in the Palo Alto, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So like it is not take too much time to roll back if we do.
Yeah. Before committing, it is way easier. But after you commit the change, it means that the changes have already taken effect.
So during the rollback process, the firewall will reboot
No, it
or
will not.
rest. It will not.
It
So
will
it will
not.
not impact any network disconnection,
Yeah, it
right?
depends upon how it behaves. I have seen situations where you're, no, after you commit a change, if you
Hmm.
are, if you want to revert it, in the name of reverting, what exactly are you doing while reverting is, let's say, um, Give me 1 second. So it's basically not just that one line of config that you are or adding back while you revert. You're basically replacing the whole config file of your device, right? So this is a
Right.
firewall. And let's say you have two interfaces. Let's say you are changing the IP configuration on this interface. So from 192.168 1.1/24, you're saying it's 1.100/24. And you do not want this IP address, you want to go back to this IP. So this is the only change that you did. Rather than rolling back the change, no, systematically by going to your backup configuration, picking up the file, and then saying that roll back to this specific file, which means what the firewall is basically doing is it is going to remove the current file and load another file, which means it is going to load the whole configuration. So I have seen in certain cases, where the firewall couldn't sync properly and we faced an outage. Rather, if it's only one change that you are doing like this, you could very well go ahead and do a config change from 1.100 to 1.1 and commit the change again. Rather than taking
Manually we
the
can
risk.
do. Manually, like the shorter
Yeah,
changes we can manually do.
manually, yes, because no, this is way far, far, far better because you know that you're changing only this. But here in this case,
Correct.
we're taking a big risk by replacing the file.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you got to take your chances only when it's required. Here, with respect to only a small change or a couple of changes, you could really go ahead and manually edit them, right?
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's your management interface config. So let me configure my PC. Maybe I'll just take about 10 more minutes, guys. I'll just show you how the dashboard looks like, and we'll break from there. We'll connect for the first session, maybe later this week. So with respect to this PC, the config will be again straightforward. So I just have to go to the network settings and I have to change the IP address to 1.something/24 for me to access the firewall from this PC. So I right click, go to properties. Give a static IP and 1.10, and I don't need a gateway, so let me click OK. All right, so I think I've given 1.1 on my firewall.
Firewall.
Let me try to ping that first to check if it is reachable. IP is not changed. Okay, let me try to do it again. Did I not click OK or did I click cancel instead of OK?
Validate settings upon exit. That checkbox, I think you might miss.
Okay, should I enable this? Okay. Okay, let me check now. And now it has the right IP. Oh, I did give the same IP, is it? Oh my God. What am I doing? So give me 1 second. I'm just going to change this to .10 because my firewall also is facing the same IP address. That should not,
Create a
that should,
conflict.
yeah, it should have a conflict. So yeah, so I should be having something other than .1. So let me have .10.
No, you can select validate settings. Check.
Okay, so if I now check my IP, it's .10. Okay, something wrong. Let me go check my firewall. I did not see the IP changed yet.
How do you see the running config? Like Cisco, we do a show run interface management.
Yeah,
Similarly,
it's again show run. Show running. So I can check the running config of a separate entity. So if I say show running application, I should see the application based running config. If I say show running interfaces, I should see the interface configuration, but I'm not sure why is it not showing up. So rather than checking it here, because you can take the backup of the firewall through GUI and you will get a file, and from there you could check it rather than checking this from here, right? The command actually is show running. So start with show running, and then whatever configuration you want to check, you could check from here.
or else you can have a pipe include in Cisco, right? When you do a show run pipe include
Yeah, here
management.
the relevant command is match or accept or match. So those are the two options you have here. You don't have no wide variety of commands that you have in your Cisco device.
Like big N
You have-
section.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really understand why 1.1 doesn't work, but clearly the firewall has not taken up the IP address. Something wrong with
I believe you have taken the correct Camo version also, right?
for the firewall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Camo version and everything.
I think I should have. Give me a second.
1.3 something it was.
Yeah, 131. I've taken the right one.
Okay.
What does it mean? Kimu?
It's just a software version that's running behind, to virtualize this firewall.
Okay.
So it's just, terminology that you use for, the lab-based virtual machine that's running behind this firewall. Yeah. Okay, so I think clearly see that the firewall has not yet taken the IP configuration. So let me configure that again. Set device config system IP address. Net mask will be 24. That
Here we are not specifying the management, right? The management interface.
no, system means management. Yeah, so
Okay.
if you say system, it's referring to management. So if you're configuring any data port, you will reference that specific port, Ethernet 1 or 2 or 3.
Okay.
So let me force a
But
commit.
you need
For
to also specify the access permission also, I think.
no, it's already going to be available. So ping, SSH, and HTTPS will be by default allowed for your management interface.
And
So
ping two also, like ping also enable?
yeah, it should be.
Okay.
That probably might be a good question. Let me access this. Because anyways, it's not going to work because when I checked my management interface settings, I do not see the IP address in there, right? So I do not see an IP address on my management interface. So let this commit complete. and we'll first check if the IP address has been taken on the firewall. Post that we can
And also
log.
currently you will not configure DSCP on the management port. So maybe you need to enter the static IP there.
Yeah, I did configure a static IP.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe I need to. If I'm not wrong, the by default mode is DHCP.
DSCP. Correct.
So I have just moved it to static. So post which, let me try if this commit works. It should now pick up the IP. If it is not, then I might need to try restarting the firewall. Just give me 1 second for this commit to get completed.
How did you find that was in DSCP earlier when you did a show? It showed.
No,
Or
it is going to be DHCP because I usually used to get the management access by doing an RDP onto my server, and I connect my management to the local network, and I access my firewall through the DHCP IP I get here. So basically, it's like I get my local IP on my computer as through a DHCP. So if I connect my management to my local network, which I can do here, so I have a provision to connect this management to a local network of mine where this EVNG or this lab is running, and that local network will act as a DHCP server and provide IP to my firewall on the same network as my local PC. So
so
hence I will be able to access my firewall through the HTTP browser through the IP address I get. So that's how I usually access my firewall. So in this case, it's a different one. So I think it's a DHCP by default. So you can also figure it out using show interface management. There should be an option that you could see there. So if I say show interface management, okay, I see that now. If you see, the IP address is available right now. Right?
similarly, this is like a show output, right? Show interface management when you compare to Cisco. Similarly, how do you check the running config for management?
So running config for management.
Yeah, same
Let's
for this
show
interface.
running.
So that we can see the IP subnet mask and like I am new to Palo Alto. For example, in Cisco, when you do show run interface Ethernet 1/2, it will show the IP address, subnet mask, duplex, speed, the negotiation, all. Similarly, compared to Palo Alto, how do you see a show running config for this management interface?
So I think the command is show config running. This will give you the complete running configuration. So as I said, the format will be very clumsy, very messy.
Oh.
So you won't be able to relevant or make any relevance of the configuration with respect to what you do because 99% of the configs you do will be GUI based, and even the config command that you type and configure on your CLI will not be of this type, but your running config will be available in this way only. So you see, it's all XML format. You don't really, you won't be able to really make any sense of this one unless you are, having very much of exposure towards this one. The best way to do this is by configuring the firewall through GUI and verifying the configuration through GUI. Or if you'd really like to do it through a CLI, don't come here and go for the configuration. You see the host name IP address is here. So don't come here and go for the running config. Rather, take backup of the firewall, verify the configs from there. At least it would make some sense to you, because this one is going to only confuse you, because even I haven't tried looking into this configuration. Rather, how I do it is by going and getting the backup config of my GUI, which will give me an XML format of config, and from there I can probably verify it. But the best way, or rather a common way to do it, is by going to a GUI, verifying the config from there, because that's how you do most of the configuration. Okay, so now that my IP address is configured, so I should now be able to finally access my firewall. So if I try now with .1, so I get the access. So as I said, my first login password was changed initially. So I'm just logging in using that password. So I'll just be quickly giving you an overview of the dashboard on which options are available where for you to get some relevance out of the firewall. So I hope you've got some idea about the CLI now. With respect to GUI, this is where you will play with the firewall most of the cases. So I would recommend having your GUI practice more than your CLI, because I personally use CLI only when I troubleshoot maybe some traffic engineering issues, or when I troubleshoot IPsec, something relevant to that. Maybe a user ID, whatever. Specifically, if I want to see some logs with respect to a specific feature, I go to my CLI. If not, most of the cases I use my GUI. Even your logs that you generate out of GUI can be very handy. You don't really need to log into a CLI itself, because you can, excuse me, you can really take a packet capture, Wireshark capture through GUI directly. That's also a feature here. You can directly go to your monitor tab. One second for this to go away. Yeah, so if you go to monitor tab, you have a lot of options. This is basically for reviewing your logs for different features. As you see, URL filtering, you have a different log file. For threat filtering, threat detection, you have a different log file. Wildfire, for normal traffic log, you have it here. So if you just go down, you will see packet capture, where you can set up what exact IP address you want to filter here. So we will have a separate session here for this one, but then you will be able to do a Wireshark capture right on your firewall. Okay? So your dashboard is basically going to give you some basic information all in one page. With respect to config logs, you see what configuration has been made where, on which device, from which user. Similarly, who has logged in through CLI or web, and what is happening in your computer or your firewall is going to be available on your system logs, and general information of your firewall, including your version, your firewall model, host name, IP address, and all those stuff would be here, and your system resources, the management CPU, data plane CPU, and how many sessions are actively available on your firewall. So that's your dashboard. ACC monitor is a graphical representation of your monitor tab, where you could see some network activity in a graph. So since there is nothing happening now on the firewall, no data ports are active. I don't see much, but you see network activity, threat activity, all the IPsec tunnel activity, global product activity, everything would be available here. Based on what parameter you want, you could filter them, and then you can get a graph which you can use for your future. So
ACC is the abbreviation for activity or
no, application command center.
application command center. Okay.
Yeah. So your monitor tab, as I said, it's used for viewing your logs. So more often than not, we would probably use the first 3 or 4 sections, and packet capture for capturing your Wireshark traffic, and session browser, right? So these are all report generation. If required, you generate reports to submit it to your top management if required. If not, I hardly use this one. And policies. Guys, I'm just giving you an overview. So I'm not skipping things here. I will be talking about each and everything later on. So you will be having all the policies requests required for your security policy, NAT, QoS, policy-based forwarding, everything available over here under policies tab. And objects. So whatever you could add up to your policy. For example, if you want to add addresses, source or destination address, you configure them here. If you want to configure policies with applications, with service port numbers, you configure them there. And with respect to security profiles, you have your antivirus, spyware, vulnerability protection profile all here. Once configured, you can apply them to your security policy. So basically, objects are here for configuring and using it in your policy or anywhere else outside your policy. Network tab, just your network configuration like DHCP, DNS, interfaces, IP addresses, VLANs, not IPsec or GRE tunnels. All the networking related configuration will be done here. And finally, your device tab. Now, more often than not, you use this for management interface configuration, activating your device certificate, license activation, your firewall upgrade, high availability configuration, anything that you do for your device specifically, you do it over here, right? So there is much more to it, creating your users for accessing the firewall. All of the stuffs are done over here on your device tab. Yeah, as I said, there are much more that you could do here. I'm just listing down a few. So like your CLI, this is where you commit your changes, and this is where you check what exactly is happening with your commit, or what exact task is going on behind the firewall. Like you say, when I'm running running a specific, for example, if I'm downloading a certificate, or if I'm installing my software to upgrade my firewall. So all the activity or job will be run here, including your commit job, right? Commit job is something very common that you would see here on the tasks menu, but other jobs also might be happening, like your software download or software upload for upgrading your firewall. All those stuffs will be happening here, and you will see the real-time information of it. How many percentage has been completed, how much is pending, and all those stuff, right? And at your taskbar, you will see what's the last login time, logout option, and then who has logged in, right? Yeah, I hope that has given you some idea about the firewall. So we haven't started talking about the product itself. As I've been mentioning, we will start with the packet capture on day one. So this is day 0. So on day 1, we will be starting with the introduction, and in the introduction session, we will be going over the packet flow of the firewall, which will be the core understanding that you require for going forward with this product. Post that, we will start configuring the firewall with the management interface, which we already did. We'll start with the administrator configuration. What options do we have there? And we'll go on to configure the interfaces, look at the types of interfaces, and then we'll discuss about the different types of policies, NAT, types of NAT. We will be going over all of that, and then finally we'll be coming back to the core security aspect of your firewall, which is your security profiles. And we'll talk about VPNs, high availability, and all the other miscellaneous features that you definitely need to know, both for your interview as well as for your work purpose. right? So I think I've taken more than 10 minutes of your time from the schedule. I hope it was useful.
So regarding the session, you had a Palo Alto tab, right? That was a console session, right? Actually.
Yeah, it was a console. So both your in your double click here is also a console, and this can also be considered as a console. This is a management access basically. You're basically taking the management access through the IP address. So console doesn't need an IP, right? So you definitely double click. This is like a console cable connected to a firewall, and this one is a management access. You're
Okay.
plugging an IP and accessing the firewall through an IP.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Right. I hope this was helpful. We'll continue tomorrow, the day one. As I said, we will be talking about your firewalls packet flow. And then
Right.
we'll also be discussing about some basic configuration of your firewall through the device that we use for configuring. Yeah. So let me, with your permission, stop this. And we'll continue tomorrow at 9 p.m. Sorry.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
actually,
Hi,
it was a very knowledgeable. Yeah.
hi, Asad. One question.
Yeah.
What about we have any troubleshooting related classes? So in real time, you will explain in a real time scenario with how to troubleshoot the issues. Is it
Yes,
included in our session?
as and when we progress along with the topics, we will not be structuring a troubleshooting session, but I
Okay,
will be giving you some tips and hints of what might go wrong, what you might face in terms of, in my real-time experience, what I have faced, and in terms of configuring some specific technology like a NAT or specific configuration with respect to a policy configuration, what might go wrong and what you might need for troubleshooting it. So definitely that will be discussed. Yeah.
okay. So how to analyze the health of the firewall, uh, issues with the packets, all these kind of things we'll discuss, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. We will. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, all right, Ajaz sir. I think today we can sum up the session, and tomorrow same time 9 p.m. we can connect for the day one class. And really, it was very knowledgeable session today. So I believe you all guys are enjoyed, today's session. So no problem. So good night, everyone. Thank you, Ajaz sir. Thank you, everyone, for time today. We'll connect by tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Jasper.
Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great.